Yeah, how you going? Yeah, he's back. He's had a week off. He's back. He's fighting fit. Yeah, I'm dressed for the occasion. No pajamas. Got my glasses on. Am I as Aussie as it can be? There's my didgeridoo. Not that I can play it, but I'm sure there's plenty around here who could. So I'll give an invite to someone to actually come and play it. I had a week off, and then come to a conclusion that with the increase of those who are following me and the input I've had to say, well, I can do my show as long as my subject matter is appropriate to the show and that anything I have to say isn't going to be inappropriate and can be construed to be offensive. So I thought, well, what's the best thing to start off with? Our politics. Yes, we had our budget last week. One of the things they get rid of is the baby bonus. Now they say if you don't fall pregnant in the next 2 weeks, you'll miss out on it completely. So that means there's a baby burn up until the 1st of July, so that people can get inside and get that baby bonus before it runs out. Not sure how much they get these days, but there's still a fair bit of money they get from having babies with the Labor government. Now, the Liberal Party, we have two parties, although we have four, but two major parties. We have the Labor Party and the Liberal Party. With the Labor Party, we also have the National Party. With the Liberal Party, with the Labor Party, we also have the Greens. Now we're going to have the Australia Party, which is going to be run by Mr. Palmer. Now, Mr. Palmer's looking to have someone in each of his electorates. Now, I'm hoping that the Gilmore electorate, that he may actually approach me and sit for Gilmore. I've got defence background. I've got the background that's required to do the things that can be done for the local area. There's nothing that will be hidden behind me to say that I can't do it. But I need to know that before I go to the electoral office and put my name in, that Mr. Palmer is going to back me. So I have to put this to as many people as I can. So all those overseas who know Clive Palmer, he's the one who has the multi-million dollars worth of mining stuff, who is open to know that we as Aussies should be fair income Aussies and not be sitting behind things that other people are trying to get us to do that we don't really want to do. For instance, our border protection. He's thinking, well, why don't we process them in the country? Fly them in. If they don't meet the standards, we just fly them back again. Why should they come in on boats, unsafe boats, where they could die, when all they do is go and buy a ticket? Fly in. Work out if you can. If they can't, we'll send them somewhere to sort out whether they can later on become a part of our country. But as we've said in the past, there's just so many people we can take. Otherwise, we'll have a situation where we'll have to bring in more food from overseas to feed the people here in Australia. Although we have got resources here to be able to make as much food as we can to feed the people we have. But it would be really good to know that there's those people who are trying to get here in Australia don't end up dying on the way, or could actually be a bonus to Australia because they may actually have a technology behind them or the ability to do work that some of the Australians are now thinking, well, it's not a job they'd like to do. Fruit pickers, all that fruit that's going to the ground. We can use that fruit for something else that these labourers can actually do and use. Let's get some of this produce that's been wasted and put it back into the cans or back into the grocery shops. I mean, we don't have the greengrocer that sits on the end of our streets anymore. We don't have the greengrocers that come around in the car selling the goods. All we have is Woolies, Woolies, Coles, Aldi's, IGA's. So we got to go to the supermarket to get our fruit and veggies unless you grow it yourself. And unless you've got a green thumb, it's really difficult to do. But anyway, my guest today is Linda George, and she's going to be singing Neither One of Us. And I'll tell you more about Linda George after the song. So here's Linda George, Neither One of Us.
It's sad to think we're not gonna make it, and it's getting to the point where we just can't make it. 'Cause for some unknown reason, just won't let it down. Because neither one of us wants to be the first to say I've been wondering what I'm gonna do without you. And I get to my feet, wondering that same thing too. And convincing ourselves to give it one more try. Because neither one of us wants to be the first to say goodbye. Every time I find the nerve to say I'm leaving, those old memories, they get in my way. Lord knows it's only me that I'm deceiving. 'Cause when it comes to saying goodbye, that's the one word I just can't stand. There can be no way we can have a happy ending. No, we and pretending and convincing ourselves to give it one more try. Because neither one of us wants to be the first to say. Neither one of us wants to be the first to say. Neither one of us wants to be the first to say.
Yeah, that was Linda George. Now, Linda George is another one of those English-born singers who's adopted Australia as being their own. And we, as Australia, has taken them on as being Australian. Well, in actual fact, they're not, because they're actually English-born. So in actual fact, they can still have a British passport as well as having an Australian passport. So Linda George, born 1951, is an English-born Australian pop, jazz fusion and soul singer from the 1970s. In 1973, George performed the role of Acid Queen for the Australian stage performance of The Who's rock opera Tommy. She won the TV Week King of Pop Award for Best New Female Artist. Her cover version of Neither One of Us peaked at number 12 on the Australian singles charts, and her 1974 single Mama's Little Girl reached the top 10 From 1972 through to 1998, George, who also worked as a session singer and later became a music teacher, her last CD recorded in the late 1990s will be available in 2012. Wow. So we wait until 2012 for it to happen. Well, okay, here we go. Linda George, early career. Linda George was born in 1949 in the United Kingdom and emigrated with her family to Australia in 1964, where they settled in Adelaide, South Australia. By 1968, George had already worked professionally as a duo and moved to Melbourne to find more musical experiences. George had joined her first band, Nova Express, a jazz fusion group similar to United States acts Chicago, Blood, Sweat and Tears, with George as lead singer. The band included Peter Walsh on organ, Craig Forbes on drums, Ian Hellings on trumpet, Dave Clark on saxophone, Derek Capewell on bass guitar. After they lost their original bass player, Ray Greenhorn, to the draft for Vietnam, Ken Schroeder on saxophone, Peter Walsh on organ, and Ken White on guitar. So, she had a solid career. In 1973, Linda George signed with independent label Image Records, released her first solo single, Let's Fly Away, in May. In March 1973, she took the role of Acid Queen in the Australian stage production of The Who's rock opera Tommy. Her fellow cast included Daryl Braithwaite, Colleen Hewitt, Billy Thorpe, Ross Wilson, Jim Keys, Doug Parkinson, Broderick Smith, Wendy Sennington, Bobby Bright, and The Who's own Keith Moon. So, obviously, there's anything about her personal life. There's nothing on her personal life to say what she did, or if she had kids, or if she got married. It doesn't go that far. So we can't envisage whether she's still around or doing what she wants to do. But her credits, born 1951, so she's the age 61 to 62. They're not sure about the actual date she was born. Origin, United Kingdom. Genres, pop, jazz, fusion, soul. Occupation, singer, teacher. Years active, 1969 to present. Labels, EMI, Columbia, Image, Full Moon, and Majestic. And associated acts, Nova Express and Paul Mackay. Yeah, so that's Linda George. Now, one of the things I was noticing was that we're still trying to get people to come into Australia. Our wicked dollar's getting that way, so therefore, when you come here, it's going to be, you better spend more money. The whole idea is that if you can spend more money, it means you're going to stay here a bit longer. So I thought to myself, I should still stay on the character of what you should expect, or if there's anything you want to specifically see, we can try and accommodate those things that are Australian, Aussie, Australia, they place them below. Yeah, I know Tassie's not on there. Well, Tassie's down there, those little two marks. Down there, please retweet. Yeah, I know, we should have Tassie on there. But then again, we should also have New Zealand, Fiji, New Guinea, all those countries that we want to adopt, who don't want to come over. So that makes it easier for us to actually go and visit them, that we don't have to have a passport. We can just fly there and have them as additional states to us. Because we have a territory, we can still go to our territory without a new passport. So, I mean, New Zealand, we have New Zealand football teams. We have car racing in New Zealand, and we still need to have a passport to get there. It's like having a eighth state of Australia sitting out in the middle of the ocean, like Tasmania. I mean, one day Tasmania may even try and become independent. That'd be a sight to see, wouldn't it? So what I thought I'd do is keep on the character of Australia and let you know the things you might want to know about Australia. There are birds in Australia. There's more birds in Australia that don't fly than there are in any other world. I mean, the only thing in Africa we know of that doesn't fly is the ostrich. Because even the chook can fly. You know, actually, the chook can actually fly. It's just we clip their wings so they can't fly, but they can fly. So, Australian birds that cannot fly. So, and one of these birds you've got to be very wary of because they can actually kill you because they've got a sharp horn on their head. And I'll tell you about that more. Lord Howe Island woodhen. This bird, a rail is restricted to Lord Howe Island, where it is in danger of extinction. At present, there is thought to be a total population of about 30. So, don't touch them. We want more of these birds to breed. There's nothing like seeing two birds having a root, is there? Depends on how you want to take it. Cassowary. Now, this is the one that you find up in Queensland. You've got to be very wary when you come to a cassowary because they've got the horn on the head. And that horn on the head can actually slit a man's head open. They're very hard. They live mainly in the tropical rainforest area of Australia and have become fruit eaters. Then we got the emu. We got the penguin. Although the penguin's not necessarily just Australian-bound bird because we have penguins all over the world. But we do have an Australian marked penguin that's authentic to Australian climate. Tasmanian native hen. So they're saying there is a hen in Australia that doesn't fly. It probably lays eggs. I'm not sure how big the eggs would be. And then we have the mallee fowl. Now, when we talk about the mallee is the thing that sits up in the deserts high up in Victoria. It's like a circle area of Victoria, New South Wales, South Australia, and Northern Territory. That's where you go to meet if you want to go and stand on all the borders all at one time. You can put one foot in each state and turn around and get into another state. It's like going to America and finding there's a point in America where you can actually stand and be in 5 states at the same time, sitting on the dot and just actually sitting on 5 states. That's a place to be, wouldn't it? A state of mind. Now, this is a PG, although I do it after 10 o'clock. So there's some words I can say, but I won't say, but is becoming very regular on our Twitter. Maybe I should call it for tomorrow, because tomorrow is Tuesday, and tomorrow we have Wind and Rain by Bluestone, and that will be on tomorrow. Now, today's date. I didn't even give it to you today. Today's the 20th of May, 2013, and I started this 20 minutes ago. So it would have been 10:23. When we come up to 10:45 or 22:45 Navy time, and I'm pretty sure the subject matter for today hasn't been too there's a word for it. See, there's my Alzheimer's. Has not been too controversial. If it has, let me know. Send a message back. Say it was a controversial show. Look, I got my collars, and no, I won't be showing my nipples off anymore. I can't do that. There's certain things on this program I can't do anymore because it offends. So that's my show. The Late Show. the Paul Beavis, and we'll catch you again tomorrow. Love is all. Bye.